Hi everyone and welcome back. Sean back with you with another classic arcade repair. Today I'm looking at a Galaga set. Again, another Galaga set. And I got my meter ready. I got the Fluke meter, the Fluke 73, ET73. Getting ready to start this thing up and see what it does. Haven't done anything to this yet. One thing I will admit I did do is I already set the power. I already checked voltage and it's at 4.97. That's as high as I can get it. So that ain't good. But so we'll figure something out. I have gone through and just made sure everything was in the right orientation and we're not blowing anything up. So yeah, so pretty sure I did anyway. Yeah, everything's in the correct way, which is good. But the fact that I can only muster 4.96 volts out of this, that's as high as I can get it to go. There's definitely something not right on this board, so we'll have to figure that out. But if I turn it on, and mind you, I have it already set as high as it's going to go. And I'll hit reset, and you'll see it looks like it tries to do something. And let's do it again. Yeah, that's all we get. And if I can try to do this, just try to, yeah. That's as much as I can get. My switching power supply is turned up all the way. See, I've actually just got the leads resting on that cap right now. And I can mess with the dial, and this is turned up all the way. 4.93 is, switcher is maxed out. I'm going to back off the switching power supply to about 470-ish. I'm just going to leave it right there for now. And once we do find out what is short on this thing, that voltage is going to spike up. So I think the first thing I can do is what I always like to do. I like to, and this has a high score save ROMs on it. And it's got some high score kit on it. You can see right here, an NVRAM kit. Yeah, so I think what I would like to do, and this customer did say that they don't require that high score save kit. It's not necessary. What I would like to do for repair purposes and eliminating things such as unknown factors, I'm going to burn some regular Galaga EPROMs for this and remove this. So, and I can test all these RAM chips. We don't know what's going on with this. Does this draw extra power? Who knows? Nothing is obnoxiously warm that I can tell. The fact that it's kind of columned out, I really hope that we don't have issues with these 07s that are these are our clock dividers. And we have one here and one on the other board. But we'll see. This is going to need the standard treatment. All of these sockets and these legs are going to have to be replaced for just for long-term viability of the board, because these sockets just are not good. So that's pretty standard practice with these, and that's why the charge is a little more than normal board sets that I charge, as these always get replaced. So I'm going to do that. And there really ain't no need in even troubleshooting anything until I get this to a certain point where I know at least connection wise and everything else we're good to go. And these are a great big question mark, these high score save ROMs. So I think I'll dump them and save them, and I want to burn regular Galaga EEPROMs. So I will do that, and then clean up all these legs, and I'm going to go ahead and do all of the socket work and stuff like that. We'll get this thing to the point to where everything is good to go. These have been replaced. These caps have been replaced up here. So yeah, it looks like all the caps have been replaced. Yeah, so we'll get this set to a good point, and then we can move forward. There's no point in trying to monkey around with troubleshooting something when you've got flaky connections all over the board and stuff, and bad ROM sockets and dirty legs on these things. It's just, there's no point. So let's get it to a good spot, and then we can start. All right, I have removed all of the chips from both boards. The only problem that I saw was with the Starfield generator, which you can see this one has, you see the flux around. Oops. You can see where someone tried to solder a leg onto that unsuccessfully. So we're going to have to grind into that chip to expose that leg, and solder a lead down to it. We'll save that. That's very savable. But it looks like somebody tried cleaning some of these chips on the video board anyway. You can see how it looks like they were sanded, which don't ever use sandpaper on these types of chips. There's only one good way to clean these, and that's with Tarnex. You don't even have to touch them. You just soak them in some Tarnex for 10 minutes. And this stuff is absolutely history. You don't even have to touch them, don't have to scrub them, nothing. I just kind of swirl them around and agitate it a little bit, and that Tarnex absolutely takes all this junk right off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with these chips, and then we got a lot of board work to do, a lot of socket work to do. So we'll do that, and I want to take care of the EEPROMs. I can do that later. But right now my main concern is the boards and cleaning these. So I'll be back after some cleaning and socketing. Okay, so we've got all of our chips cleaned up. And as you can see them through the plastic, even how clean they are. Didn't have to touch those legs. Here is our Starfield generator, and I'm going to show you how I go about fixing these busted legs like this. You can see there's a little nub there. That's just not enough. So what I'm going to do, I put this in the breadboard to hold it. Keep it safe and hold it. So we'll get the camera on the tripod. I'll kind of zoom in a little bit, and hopefully you can see how I do that. Okay. So that's about as zoomed in as I can get. Now I have to try to not hit the camera stand. Come on. I think I just nudged it. And we're still okay. It's hard to get in here to do this. Really hard to get in here to do this. Okay. Dremel set on low. All right. I can see I need to adjust this because I'm having to tilt this Dremel too much, and I want to keep it even with that leg, so I'm going to have to do this like over at the edge. I'm going to have to move the chip to the edge of over here. So we'll have to remove it from here. Move it over towards the edge. This way I can hang the Dremel off the end. So let's try to bring this over a little bit. Okay, that might be as good as it gets for you. Yeah, let's try that. Okay. Much better. Much more control. There's the leg right there. Good enough. It's nice and kind of tinned. And I'll kind of try to bring it over a little bit. Bear with me. Over here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to maybe switch the camera angle to overhead on the desk, but we'll come down and I'll show you. And all I'm going to do now is, tin that and solder a little resistor lead or something onto it and fold it down. And that'll be it. I'll kind of try to, this right here, kind of bend that down maybe. Alright, yeah, it doesn't want to move very well, so yeah, sorry about the shaky, but so that's it. I'm going to flux that up, solder a lead onto it, and that will fix this chip. Alright, and there you see the lead soldered on. I'll clean that flux off of there. That is a permanent solder joint right there. So we'll remove this chip. I'll clean up that flux and then remove the chip and form that leg and move on. And that's just a little resistor. See, I just used a little part of the resistor lead here. That's it. And there is your finished product. Brand new pin, is it 1? Pin 1. Alright, moving on. Alright, I have removed all of the sockets and chips. Not chips, but the sockets and legs, and it's all cleared out. And actually, if you see a little bit of something in those solder through holes, that is just flux paste. It's leftover flux paste. Because I paste these up when I remove them. It just makes it easier. It comes out easier and eliminates shorts. So there's a little flux paste residue on there, which is good because I'll use that. That'll be in there to help these solder better. It's not flux paste residue, it's actual flux paste still in these through holes, which is fine. I'm going to leave it right there. Yeah. That one's not used. And your video board. No broken traces, no pads pulled. I mean, everything came out absolutely great. Very good, very good, very good. So we're ready to resocket. We'll be resocketing, putting our cleaned up chips in. I got to verify all of the software, and I'm going to burn regular Galaga ROMs. I'm going to eliminate that. I'm going to eliminate that high score thing because that's just an unknown variable I don't want to deal with. I'm working on the board, not the software necessarily. I want to work on making sure the boards are good. So we can deal with software after we get the boards where they need to be. So that's where we're at. Okay, socketing is done, complete. And I am still using the Slimline 28-pin sockets. I had so many of those things. I'm still using them, just separating them and doing them that way. And on the back side, I mean, it looks like there was no work done to this. That's how it should look. Might be a little flux residue still yet on there. Yeah, I'll have to take care of that. Scrub it once more. So let me do that. Let me scrub that, make sure that all that residue is off of there. Alright. Okay, yeah, I've scrubbed it again. It just needed another little scrubbing. Super clean. You can't tell that there was any work done on this. And that is how it should be, like we weren't even here. I'll probably need to scrub this one again too. Yeah, maybe. Just a little flux residue left over. One more cleaning on this board too. And then we'll be good to reassemble. Alright, did another cleanup on the CPU board, and you can see it is just super clean, like we weren't even here. Did I miss it? I missed one. Look at that. Okay, I'll solder that. Can't believe that I missed one. How weird. Okay, yeah, let me solder that, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, we are all completely hooked back up. There's our repaired Starfield generator chip. I went ahead and burnt proper program EPROMs and put in there a couple RAM chips here. I verified all of these RAM are good. All of the RAM are good. I verified. I verified all of the ROMs are good. And the thing we don't know the CPUs or the customs. That's what we do not know about. So we will go. Oh, and I verified all of the bipolars are all good too. So yeah. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. First, fire up. Oh, that's a whole lot of nothing. Let's try it again. And we're on. Yeah, that ain't doing jack. How's about? Oh, look at my new toy here. I got. Well, that's not a toy. That's an expensive tool, is what it is. A microscope with, and I made sure I got the trinocular so I could. Eventually, I can put a camera on that thing. That'd be kind of cool. But I got that for fine board inspections and stuff. And who knows? I might get into doing, really. Like the job I used to do surface mount stuff, and I had to use a microscope every day. So I figured I'd get one. I might get into repairing like PS5 and 4 consoles and stuff like that. I've kind of been interested in that a little bit lately. But yeah, we're on. And maybe even get into laptop motherboards and stuff. Just, board repair and stuff would be kind of cool. I've been kicking around that idea, and I knew I needed to have a microscope if I was going to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and check voltage. And remember, we were at 496 or something like that, and we were topped out. And we got 485 there. 496. Seems like something on this board is really drawn down, but nothing's hot, and all of the bipolars are good. I don't feel any abnormal heat on this board at all. Nothing out of the ordinary. I just hope that these custom chips weren't put in backwards at some point. Yeah, I don't feel anything crazy hot. So what I could do is just, well, I know I got clocks because it does something on the screen. So I think what I'll do is I'll put the fluke on it, and we'll do our checks and stuff through the fluke and see if we might have some kind of an issue getting through to this board or something. Just try to see what's going on. So that'll be the next step, is I'll throw the fluke on this thing and we'll do some tests. Okay, I just got done doing all of the tests on the first Z80 CPU. I was able to read all of my ROMs like I should. And I was able to access all of the RAM on this board, this one and all of these guys, no problem at all. So we're going to shut down. I'm going to move on to the next CPU. We might have a dead Z80 on this board somewhere. But we'll see. We got to check the decoding on all of these other Z80s. So I'm going to do that. I'll put this one back in. And we'll move to this Z80. Okay, well, I found 0 issues with this CPU board. 0. All 3 of these Z80s, I was able to read their ROMs and access all of the RAM. So that tells me this board is fine. I'm just kind of starting to probe around on this board, and I was looking at some of these signals on these customs, and these customs all look like they should. I found something that is very, very peculiar over here, though. This bipolar ROM, which I've verified, this bipolar ROM is fine. But ground, pin 7 is ground, pin 14 is 5 volts. Look at pin 14. It's also ground. So I need to stop and find out and just start looking around. Why is that grounded? And none of the other ones are grounded, but that would explain the goofiness. Nothing else seems to be grounded. This one's not grounded. See? That one's not grounded. That's not grounded. That's not grounded. This is not grounded. But that is absolutely grounded. Alright, let me figure that out. Well, it's not grounded. It's just not in the circuit. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, I put that pin back in the socket, so let's turn this thing on. Hey, that's better. Hey, it looks like it's actually booting. RAM, what's that say? RAM 1H? Well, we know wait, is that testing these? Is it testing these right here? 1H? Oh, is that this? This thing does have RAM, I think. Let me put another 04 in this board. I do have 04s. So let me pop one in here and see if that fixes this board. Okay, so I pulled out that 04, put in another 04 from a pole position. I've got all the customs here. I cleaned them. A pole position board set that I was working on that I stopped working on. Anyway, there's the old 04, and we're getting the same thing. It says RAM 1H. RAM 1H. So maybe I should look at the Galaga manual. I don't know. There is no RAM at 1H other than this. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? But I'll check out the manual and see what 1H means. I mean, it could be... I mean, there could just simply be something on this board. I think there is something on this board that is bad and that is messing up the whole works, is what I think is going on. But I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the board, because I doubt that this is bad. Generally, if these were put in backwards and they're bad, they're super hot. You can't hardly touch them. And I don't feel any heat on this board at all, really. So, yeah, let me go ahead and do it. I'm going to put that one back in, put the other stuff back up. And I think I'm just going to go probing around with the with the scope there and see what I can see. Before I go grabbing the schematic and everything, I want to just kind of look at chips, look at some outputs, look at some inputs, just kind of probe around on this thing and look around. All the addressing that is muxed through to here, or that's buffered through, no problem. I already know that. I already know that because I can read everything, all the RAM on here from the CPU board. No problem. So that doesn't mean, there could still be something that controls in here from this board that could still be bad, that we're kind of bypassing by just going into the CPU control. So it's still a pretty good mystery right now. It's still a whodunit, but we'll figure it out. I'm just going to go ahead and start just messing around with the probe and see what I can see. All right, I broke out the schematic, and I'm looking at 1H, and I'm just going through and probing around 1H to find out why is this giving me a 1H error. And I'm when 1, 2, 3 pins, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all sync lines. 1 and 2 are 1H and 2H. 1H, 3 megahertz. 2H is going to be half, 1.53 megahertz. Pin number 3 looks like horizontal sync. And 15.9 kilohertz looks good. 4 is 4H. It's 4H asterisk. And then 8H will be half of that. Yes. And the next one is 16. It's just a high line. That's the problem right there. This is missing. It's missing an input. That's this line right here, 16H. It's supposed to be a count signal, and it's not there. So I want to make sure. I just want to go and look for this. It's 16H with an asterisk. That one's fine, that one's fine, that one's absent. So I'm going to find out where that comes from, and that will more than likely be the problem, the culprit. So let's look around this schematic, hunt around for that signal. Okay, well, something absolutely bizarre has happened. I looked up error codes for Galaga, and error 1H means that the RAM at 1K is bad. This guy. But I used the fluke and was able to talk to that the whole time. It was good with the fluke. I replaced it with a Texas Instruments version of a 2016 and removed the 6116 that was in it. This tested fine. Is it a speed thing? This is a 200 nanosecond part. So is this. I don't know. It did not like this RAM because it's working now. This is absolutely bizarre. Yeah, but it seems to be working fine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get it off of this free play screen, I think. Turn the volume down, man. It's going to blast some ears right there. Oh, it's in free play. Looks good. So anyway, I'm going to play test this thing a while. I'd like to set the dip switch to get it out of free plays. I don't like free play, to be honest. You know what? I'll leave it. I'll leave it the way it is. I'm going to go ahead and hook up my, or I'm going to go ahead and just play this, you know, hook up the camera and whatnot. And I should probably just, now that I know the boards are good, I should probably try out that high score save kit again. So let me do that. Let me plug that thing in and make sure it's working. See if that thing even works. And if so, then I'll just keep my EEPROMs. So I'll go ahead and check that out. Now it took me a minute to get this thing to work. To use this, I'm going to have to replace these two sockets down here. Because, I'll show you, turn it off, and I'll remove this. This has just socket legs. They're really thin. It's not like putting a chip down in that socket to where it's got more to it so it'll make a better connection. No, not with this. That's just little sockets. So these single wipe guys right here are going to have to be replaced. But we can do that. I'll go ahead and replace those so that we get a good permanent connection to this, and it'll work. It would not work when I first put it in. I had to sit here and fidget with it. But yeah, it'll work. So I'll go ahead and you know what I was kind of concerned about is this thing had no high score on it. So shouldn't this thing have high scores on it? I mean, shouldn't it save high scores? I don't know. I'll test that all out. But let me go ahead and pull this apart, and I'm going to replace these two sockets. It just never will be solid with these sockets in there with that. It'll be problematic big time. So I'll go ahead and replace those and be back. Okay, soldering is done. Couple new dual wipe sockets in the board. And they are right here, I guess. It's hard to tell. Okay, let's hook this thing back up, put our little kit thing on there, and see what we get. Yeah, I changed those sockets, and this thing's flaky. You can see it's giving me a RAM error. If I turn it off, let's remove this thing. It grabs it tight now. It's good. Legs are all good. Put it back down. It's in good. It boots different. See how it does that? Yeah. If I remove this thing totally and put my RAMs back in, it does the weird boot, but it boots nonetheless. So the good news is this will run with those high score ROMs. The bad news is this thing's flaky and doesn't really work very good. So maybe the thing is bad itself. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just going to send it back like this. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the tripod and play some Galaga. Set this up like this so that if it falls, it won't fall, actually. Yeah, so Galaga board. That thing's just I don't know, it just doesn't work. I'm going to test this really good. I'm going to play it a lot with these ROMs in it and make sure there's no flakiness with these ROMs. Because I don't know. I mean, apparently it looks like it works. It looks like it works fine with these EPROMs. But I don't know for sure until I set it up and just play it a little bit. So I'm going to do that. I'll set the camera up and just go ahead and play this some. And look how good that looks. Holy crap. All right. And we'll go ahead and play. One player start. If I can find where to hit it. Come on. I never said I was good. As a matter of fact, I kind of suck at this. Terrible. But it plays good. Music is good. It looks beautiful. That monitor just absolutely glows. It's nice. All right. We're going to call it a success. A successful repair. And we saved that Starfield generator. Remember that. That thing was a mess. Cool. So, yeah. This one had the good old socket overhaul. Every socket replaced. Every socket that fails anyway, that normally will fail. Basically all of the big sockets. Customer had done a recap on this thing at some point. Yeah. All the customs are good. That's all good. Everything's good. Working good. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and that's going to wrap up this one, and we will see you guys on the next episode of Classic Arcade Repairs. Peace out.